What's up everybody, it's Ben from the Vinyl Jukebox, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some novelty album covers, album inserts, just fun things that are included with vinyl records that you wouldn't normally expect to find. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to leave a like and a comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. So these albums that I'm about to show aren't in any particular order. This isn't a ranking video. I was basically going through my collection and trying to find albums that had really creative novelty packaging or inserts included. But basically in the 60s, 70s, 80s, bands and record labels used to get really creative with their packaging a lot of the time and include special inserts or special features with the album covers that would really make it the albums more appealing for people to buy. You see this a little less often today. You see it more with box sets or really limited edition, special editions of albums. But it was really common in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And you'll see from this video that bands got really creative the way that they would include different packaging. Now, one of the most frustrating things as a collector is record shopping out in the wild and finding an album that you know is supposed to have a really cool insert or poster, opening it up, the record's in great shape, and you notice the poster is missing or the poster is heavily damaged, has tack holes in it. A lot of the time these inserts are very rare and very hard to find because of the fact that, you know, kids would buy these albums, hang up the posters or play with the inserts or put the inserts somewhere and then lose them, and they would get separated from the album. So a lot of the time, not all the time, inserts are pretty difficult to find, especially in good shape. All right, so first up, and this is one of my favorites, this is Long John Silver from the Jefferson Airplane. And this is one of my favorite album packages because it resembles a cigar box, or at least we think it is. But you can see their humor here. Long John Silver, 9 fine blends of fragrant weed, humidor pack. All right, kind of hinting to what you're gonna find inside. You open that up, and really cool artwork, that old cigar box style. You get instructions for putting it together. One day I do want to put one of these together. I have to find another cheap copy though, because I do want to keep one intact. But you find the original inner sleeve, which was a bunch of cigars, and then below that you find out that this is in fact a stash box. So a lot of fun from Jefferson Airplane. And this album doesn't get too much credit in their catalog. I actually really do like this album. I think it's really cool. One of their later day albums, but good stuff from them. All right, next up, I've got a more recent album. This came out a few years ago. This is Stonesour, Corey Taylor's other band. Corey Taylor from Slipknot. This is Hello You Bastards, live in Reno. Their live album that came out for their last album, but really cool gatefolds. And this was a deluxe edition numbered out of 2,520. I got number 1,283. And this one's cool because, well, first of all, it's interesting because it's a top-loading record packaging here. But you do get inside, you get a signed set list from this show. So really cool. I like to keep these in page protectors though. Maybe I'll get this framed one day. And you get a really cool poster included as well. So great stuff. Love the packaging on this one. Put these over here. All right, next up, and I've shown this on the channel before, this is Bootsy's rubber band, Bootsy Collins from Parliament and Funkadelic. This boot is made for Funkin'. Really cool album artwork. I love this, but these hype stickers get in the way a little bit, but really cool artwork. And you'll notice inside the insert here is a coloring book. It's a comic book coloring book, so some of it's been done already. I don't think it was done by the previous owner. I think that it was supposed to be like this. Let me know in the comments below if you know for sure. But I think the first page and a quarter was supposed to be colored in, and the rest you do yourself. And you'll notice also at the end you fill in your own comic. So I don't have any plans to do this comic. I like it blank as is, but Cool stuff. Love this packaging. All right, next up, a very strange band for most, or for some, I should say. This is Suicide, Martin Rev and Alan Vega. They were in the same kind of scene as those New York punk bands or New York rock bands, club bands from the late 70s, early 80s. They were, I guess, part of that new wave scene as well. But really cool stuff, really creepy stuff as well. The song Frankie Teardrop on here is one of the creepiest songs you will ever hear in your life. Definitely check it out if you don't know that song. But this is really cool because, and these are hard to find with the with this piece, but these have a very flimsy, I think this is a 10-inch single here, and this is 23 minutes in Brussels, recorded in Brussels in 1978. So just another really cool part of this set here, of this packaging. So that's Suicide. All right, next up, The Beatles, the White Album. Now, early pressings of this album included not only a poster, but also we had individual headshot photographs of the band. So we have George, we have Paul, John, and Ringo. Cool stuff. And also I mentioned there's a poster. Now it's a poster lyric sheet, so on one side you have this, and you'll notice this with inserts a lot of the time they'll include the lyrics but also make it into a poster, and we have the lyrics over here and other information as well. So cool stuff. All right, next up, and this is not going to translate too well on camera, but I wanted to show it anyway because it was really interesting. So Marilyn Manson's last album, We Are Chaos, this is his website exclusive. So it came on a really cool album variant, vinyl variant. You'll see here it's like a smoky, hazy, sort of purple blue. So really cool. I love that variant. But what's interesting about this is the packaging. He had a song on this album called Perfume, and for that, he actually made the inner sleeves smell like perfume. I guess they sprayed that right before they packaged it, and it still smells. I thought it wouldn't at this point, but it still does. So really cool stuff. And this one also included a poster, lyric sheet as well. I know this is Marilyn Manson's own artwork, his own paintings for both that and the album cover. So cool stuff, just interesting things that they include to make it more worthwhile for you. All right, next up, and I've definitely shown this on the channel before, this is Kiss Love Gun. Really cool insert that was included with this, and the most desirable definitely is the toy gun that was included. And I like to keep this in plastic so it doesn't get ruined. But we have the toy gun. Somewhere in here is the, you had that, and you also had the, here it is, little papers that say bang bang that come out of the gun. It's pretty difficult to find these without being punched out, and difficult to find them in general. But we have that, and we also have the merch form with the comic book advertisement. So really cool. One of my favorite inserts for sure. All right, next up, this one's really cool. Hawkwind die cut album cover opens up. See here, opens up to show the band. And it actually does fold over, so it seals, but I don't seal it because this part over here, you'll see if you ever find this in record stores, oftentimes this part, this little bit here will be broken off, so I don't want that to break, so I keep that as it is. All right, next up, one of the most famous die cut covers, I think. Some Girls, The Rolling Stones. Now, this is the original cover with the celebrity faces. We have Lucille Ball. What's really cool about this one is if you flip it around, you can put different faces in different spots. This one I don't like as much because it's totally in black and white. Doesn't have the lipstick or the hair color or anything, but really cool. This is the cover that got pulled because of legal issues with using some of these celebrities' faces, so they eventually reissued this with those faces just colored out, but this is the original version. Cool stuff. And not the first Rolling Stones that we're going to show for sure. All right, next up, Led Zeppelin 3. This is the original cover with the pinwheel inside that shows different images when you turn it. Let me show that a little closer. So, good stuff. Fun stuff to fidget with while you're listening to the album for sure. All right, next up, another Led Zeppelin. This is Physical Graffiti. And what's cool about this is all the windows, are all the windows? No, most of the windows are die cut. So when you move the insert, you can actually change what's in the windows, and the back windows are die cut as well. You could change what's in the windows. This one's a little more boring, but now all the windows are closed. All right, now it says it on the back. Physical Graffiti. So cool stuff to play around with. All right, next up, and I've definitely shown this before, this is Grand Funk Shine On. This has a set of 3D glasses in the album cover. Now, I have not punched these out. I do not plan to punch them out. I actually want to order a pair of 3D glasses so I can see the album cover as it's meant to be seen, because as you guys can see, it is that 3D style, that red and blue. And this also included a poster that could also be seen in 3D. So cool stuff from Grand Funk. Shine on. All right, and this one of my favorites actually. I know I keep saying that because they're all great, but one of my favorites, Ooh La La from the Faces. This is my favorite Faces album for sure, but one of my favorite covers because if you press down on the face, it moves. Now this is another one of those covers that's hard to find intact. Usually this piece will fall off or be ripped off, or part of this will be ripped off, because you know, at the end of the day, when people bought these, they played around with them and they were a lot of fun. You'll see also, this is really interesting. I noticed Rod Stewart did this as well, and now I'm starting to remember there were a couple Rod Stewart albums that I should have shown as well, but maybe for a part 2 video. But just the way that the packaging is laid out is very interesting. Just really cool stuff. All right, next up, lenticular covers. Now I have 2 that I'm going to show. I know I have more CD lenticular covers, but I don't know about albums. I'll probably think of them as I'm going through these. But this is Psycho Circus. This was the first time it was issued on vinyl, which was 2014. The album came out in 96, I believe. But this one's really cool. One of my favorite Kiss album covers. Really glad that it came out on vinyl with the original lenticular. I know that there are versions without the lenticular on vinyl, but this one's definitely the more sought after. Really cool stuff. And this one, probably one of the most famous lenticular rock album covers, Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesty's Request. This one is really sought after as well. I know that later issues of this did not have the lenticular cover, and what's cool about this album is if you open it up, there's a maze that you could fill out. Really great psychedelic artwork here. This album's in a little bit of rough shape, so if I find one out in the wild for a good price, I'll definitely pick up another copy. Back with the Stones again. This is Sticky Fingers, and we all know this album cover, iconic Andy Warhol image that has been replicated by a few bands over the years. Motley Crue, Falling in Reverse have done their tribute to it, so on and so forth. But this is the original. This has the zipper. The zipper I know is very fragile. That's why I'm not going to unzip it right now. But very fragile. Oftentimes you'll find it broken because people will have pulled on it. Also, you want to be careful with this album. I know that when it came out in stores, record store owners were a little annoyed because the zipper would scratch up albums that were stacked up next to these. So you definitely want to be careful in your own collection not to have this brushing up against something, because the zipper might ruin it. But you can see a little bit underneath. There is an image underneath of the guy in the pants' underwear, but really cool stuff. You definitely want this original with the zipper if you can find one. Next up, Van Halen. This is Women and Children First, and this one, the original versions of this, came with a really big poster of good old Diamond Dave. Really cool stuff. And I know I have more albums with posters. You could go on for hours and hours with poster albums, but this is my last one here coming up. And last one here, Aerosmith live bootleg. And this one is one of my favorite posters. Well, before that, let's show the gatefold. And taking a look at the poster in this one, I know it's here. This is a really cool image of the band playing live. Awesome stuff. All right, everybody, so there you have it. Those are some albums from my collection that had great novelty packaging, great inserts, really cool albums that I wanted to showcase. And it's always fun looking at those inserts. Sometimes I just take those albums out, listen to the music, don't even take the inserts out. So it's great being able to revisit them and take a look at what's inside and definitely showcase those for you guys. So let me know in the comments below, what albums do you have in your collection that have great novelty packaging, have interesting inserts? I know that there's albums in my collection that originally had inserts, but they went missing. And I'm definitely on the hunt for those original inserts as I look around in the wild. But definitely let me know, what albums am I missing from my collection? What albums should I look out for that have really cool novelty packaging? Some albums that have this novelty packaging are great. Others, you know, you're just buying the album for the packaging. But you know, sometimes it has to be done. So let me know. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to like and comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.